everyone. Welcome to the show. Today is Thursday, October 3rd. Welcome to October. It's definitely autumn and we're feeling it here, but thankfully it's a bit sunny out today. And the latest on Marc, of course, is that we don't know exactly when he's going to be home. The Public Safety Minister of Canada has still not made a decision on Marc's transfer application to finish his sentence at home in Canada. So we've got to step up the pressure. A lot of you made calls and wrote letters when we had the campaign on September 10th to recognize the date that he was sentenced in 2010. But we're going to do more phone call blitzes and a few other activism efforts if we don't get an answer soon. And one of those things is going to be me out in Ottawa at the end of the month. So on Tuesday the 29th, I'm going to be on Parliament Hill, so watch out. Here I come, Harper and Co. You guys, I'm peaceful. Of course, I'm no threat to anybody, but I'm definitely going to Ottawa, and I'm going to ask that they please bring my husband back home, and also to bring home all of the other Canadians who are suffering in prisons abroad who need to be brought back closer to their families. Cruelty is never acceptable, and to make people suffer without their loved ones is definitely cruelty. So I'm going to go to Ottawa, and I'm also going to need some help. So when I show up in Ottawa, I already have the backing of at least 2 members of Parliament who will be there with me at a press conference calling for Marc to come home. But I need to rally up some more members of Parliament who are willing to stand there, if they like, and join us that morning at this press conference. But what I also need to do is something similar to 2 years ago, where I get elected representatives from provincial government, city council, any sort of elected representative to sign a letter endorsing Marc's transfer. I did that 2 years ago, and we had senators and city councilors and all sorts of elected reps. But I need to do it again to demonstrate that not only will I have the backing of the members of Parliament present with me that day, but also a letter signed by many different people agreeing. So I need your help. If you have a member of Parliament who's at all sympathetic to either marijuana issues or progressive issues, anything like that, please send me their contact info or let me know who they are so I can get in touch and ask them to sign the letter. But what I also need from the general public at large are petitions. I've been working on this a couple years. We did it the first time around. We had a whole lot. But it's a petition just asking for Marc to be brought home. And it has a few spots for signatures. So we're collecting those right now so I can take a box of them with me. And I hope to take a couple thousand. But I'm also looking for your help in collecting them wherever you may be. So if you're interested in getting at least 1 copy so you can have a couple friends sign it and you can send it to me and I'll take it to Ottawa, that would be awesome. So please send an email to jodie@cannabisculture.com and I will send you the file for this petition, and you can do your part to help add some weight to this call to bring Marc home. There's also going to be that afternoon a gathering on Parliament Hill, a rally or a protest. I haven't planned that all yet, but I know that there are a lot of supporters who would like to be there in Ottawa that day, and so we're going to be planning something for them to demonstrate peacefully how they want Marc to come home as well. So stay tuned for that, and if you sent a letter to Minister Stephen Blaney about Marc's transfer, you're going to get something like this sent to you. So this was to a gentleman named Ken, who is a supporter and sent me this copy, and it's a basic nothing letter. It basically says, thanks for writing about Marc Emery, but the Privacy Act says I can't comment on it, but we're reviewing his stuff, so thanks for writing. Now, it doesn't mean, and it's not a promise, oh sure, we'll bring him home right away, and it's not that. We don't expect that. But what this is it's a letter that the minister had to go and sign. So he had to be given a stack of letters saying, please sign these to mail to these people who took the time to contact us. And that is pressure. There aren't a lot of prisoners who have people doing that sort of thing. So if you just send an email or a fax or a letter to the Public Safety Minister, you're doing your bit to help get Marc home. That info to contact the Public Safety Minister is on the front page of freemarc.ca. It's easy to find, and please do your part. You can just send a 1-line email saying, please bring Canadian Marc Emery home, signed Joe Canadian. And whatever you want to do, just send a little bit of help and do it for anyone else you know who is looking to come home. Now, in Canada, however, I read the paper today, it looks like we've got a bad prison situation going on right now. Inmates across Canada are peacefully striking because their pay has been cut so severely. They used to only be able to make $6 and something cents a day, and now they can only make $3 a day. And the prisons aren't providing soap or shampoo or the basic necessities, so inmates have to buy basic things like soap themselves, but they can't afford to do it because they aren't getting enough money. They can't even afford to make phone calls or send letters to their children at Christmas time. This is extremely cruel and very distressing, and if you go to twitter.com/Jodie Emery, you'll see that I made a few good tweets being pretty pissed off this morning, because it really does bother me that this is cruelty for cruelty's sake. There's nothing else except to make people suffer, and that's pure evil. That's just straight up evil, making people suffer. I can't handle it. It makes me sick. And that's the sort of prison system that Marc is trying to actually get home to. Hopefully he wouldn't spend long here, but the point being, we've got a problem in Canada, and our prisoners, whether they've made a mistake and they're bad people or not, it doesn't matter. We should treat all other living beings with compassion and respect, and we shouldn't make prisoners suffer. And so that really ticked me off a lot, and you can read my tweets about it. But hopefully if Marc does get transferred home, he'll be out really quickly, or at least if he doesn't get transferred home, he'll be out and in Canada without any time in Canadian prison, and that would be next July, August-ish. So, you know, a year to go. But anyway, just something to be aware of. Also on the horizon in Canada, medical marijuana changes. Now people are no longer able to get licensed growers to grow their medical marijuana. So that's been eliminated, and as of next April next year, there are going to be patients no longer allowed to grow. In fact, they're being told to start shutting down their gardens now, effectively making every marijuana plant in this country illegal. This is a major crisis, and I know a ton of our friends and fellow activists have been in all the news talking about it, because they're growing medicine that's saving their lives, and they're going to be made to suffer and pay prohibition prices to companies selling it to them. The whole thing is just a big mess, but you can definitely read up about it at cannabisculture.com, of course. And I was out at Global Studios out in Burnaby on BC One talking about it, and I just reminded everyone, you know, Ross Rebegliati, the Olympic gold medal winner, he was on there talking about his pot growing industry, and all these people talking about the emerging free market of medical marijuana sales. And I just wanted to remind them that it is illegal, and people are going to prison, and more people will be going to prison because of the new laws. So let's not forget that it's not legal. I'm all for pot business, but let's keep people out of handcuffs and out of prison first. That's the priority. Now, I just came from a meeting earlier today. Dana Larson was with me. We were meeting with Donald McPherson from the Canadian Drug Policy Coalition, and there were representatives from other groups such as the BC Civil Liberties Association and Normal, and different groups just interested in hearing Alison Holcomb speak. Alison is in town. She is the author of Initiative 502, which legalized marijuana in Washington State. She's an incredible woman. I have so much respect for her, and we just had a little get-together to talk about our plans for what worked for them, what we're doing here. It was just a little brainstorm session, but it's a reminder that Sensible BC, our campaign in British Columbia, is well underway and needs your support. If you live in British Columbia, please go to sensiblebc.ca. This is to make the police stop arresting people for pot. And don't think that it's just a free-for-all in BC. There are arrests and charges for possession all the time in this province, all across the province, destroying thousands of people's lives. So we do need to take action, and we are going to have to do it at a provincial level until we can get rid of Harper and change it at a federal level. So let's focus on what's possible here in BC. Sensible BC is something we can really make a difference with. You can give money or time, anything you can do. It's all at sensiblebc.ca. Please go check it out. And fun little side note, Saskatoon is hosting right now the Prairie Harvest Medicinal Cup, or the Prairie Medicinal Harvest Cup, one or the other. Sorry, Jeff, but you're holding your cup out there, and I'm sure it's going to be an awesome time. Jeremiah is out there with Mick Mann and Matt Murnaugh, covering it for Cannabis Culture and Pot TV, hosting it there. And Saskatchewan actually has a referendum process like BC, and they only have 600,000 people. And so that means they only need to get a couple thousand to sign their paperwork if they were to start a referendum. So let's just remember that we have people all across this country who can be doing different sorts of activism to make a difference. And Saskatchewan, you guys are hardcore activists. You supported Marc and I so much way back in the day. You guys know when Marc was put in jail for passing a joint for 3-month sentence. That's crazy, but you guys are hardworking. So is Alberta. So are the Ontario people. Everybody across this country is working hard. But of course, there's only so many things we can really put our time into right now here in BC, and one of them for me is going to be Sensible BC, and I need your guys' support. So please join up, sensiblebc.ca, and come down to Marc Emery's Cannabis Culture Headquarters to sign the paperwork. Make sure that you sign to say we should decriminalize marijuana, and you can find canvassers wherever you live by checking out the website. Help Dana out in this massive effort, and I know if Marc was here, he would be out on the road, and I'd be out on the road with him, making sure we got all the signatures needed. So please do what you can in his absence to do what he cannot. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to go visit Marc this weekend. It's been a month since I've seen him. I can't wait. He's really desperate to get home. It's getting really antsy and all sorts of little issues, but we're making it. We're going to be okay, and he's going to be home soon. But I'll be off to see him and send all your love and support. Thank you so much for continuing to help try and get Marc home and to try and change these laws so that nobody goes to prison for pot ever again. Okay, thanks for tuning in, you guys. I'll see you next week. No more drug war. Free Marc Emery.